In the final hours of 2024, a father and daughter were fatally shot in a parked car in North End, Halifax.
On New Year's Eve, a night typically filled with joy and celebration, the residents of Halifax, Nova Scotia, were confronted with a devastating tragedy that shook the entire community. The senseless killing of Coralee Smith and her father, Bradford Downey, by Coralee's boyfriend, Matthew Costain, left a deep scar on their loved ones and sparked widespread discussions about intimate partner violence. Coralee was known by her friends and neighbors as a kind-hearted and caring woman, someone who would go out of her way to help others. Her father, Bradford, was equally loved in the community, a gentle soul who had worked for years at a paving company before retiring to spend more time with his family. To those who knew them, their deaths felt profoundly unjust, a cruel act committed by someone who was supposed to love and protect Coralee. This case is not just a story of a tragic loss, but also a reflection of a broader societal issue. Nova Scotia, a province with some of the highest rates of intimate partner violence in Canada, had already been grappling with the aftermath of multiple similar incidents. The double murder on New Year's Eve marked the fourth such case in just 3 months, highlighting an urgent need for action. Around 10:35 p.m. on New Year's Eve, Halifax Regional Police were called to Gottingen Street after reports of an injured person. Upon arrival, they found a car with 2 occupants, Coralee Smith, who had already succumbed to gunshot wounds, and her father, Bradford, who was unresponsive. Bradford was rushed to the hospital but later pronounced dead. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots before the police arrived. The Nova Scotia Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that both victims had died from gunshot wounds, officially ruling their deaths as homicides. Meanwhile, on January 1st, officers received information about a man connected to the victims believed to be in the vicinity of the Halifax Common. When they arrived, they discovered the body of Matthew Costain, Coralee's boyfriend, who had died from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A firearm was recovered at the scene, and police concluded that Costain was responsible for the earlier double murder. Halifax Regional Police quickly identified the case as an incident of intimate partner violence. According to spokesperson Const, Martin Cromwell, investigators believe that jealousy and control were the primary motives behind the attack.
We do believe this investigation is in relation to intimate partner violence. We believe that the suspect was in a relationship with one of the victims.
Costain was known to have been in a relationship with Coralee, and it is suspected that an argument or confrontation escalated into violence. During a press conference, Cromwell stated, "We are not looking for any other suspects at this time. All indications point to Costain as the perpetrator of this tragic event." He also noted that while Costain did not have a known criminal record, police were still investigating whether Coralee had previously reported any incidents of domestic abuse. The investigation has since turned its focus toward understanding the events leading up to the murders. Police are appealing to anyone with information about Costain's behavior in the days before the incident to come forward. The news of the double homicide sent shockwaves through the community. Coralee Smith was described by friends and family as a vibrant and fun-loving person who adored her father. Bradford Downey, a retired worker known for his kindness, was beloved by those who knew him. Reverend Javaro Smith, the pastor of St. Thomas Baptist Church in North Preston, spoke about the profound impact of their deaths on the community.
Bradford, a wonderful gentleman, just the nicest guy, give you the shirt off his back. And his daughter, fun-loving, full of...
Local leaders and residents have called for increased measures to combat domestic violence. The incident marks the fourth intimate partner violence-related homicide in Nova Scotia in just 3 months, highlighting a growing crisis in the province.
We're a family of people that are connected and tightly knit, And so when one family hurts and grieves, we all.
In the days following the tragedy, calls for action against intimate partner violence grew louder. Politicians from across the political spectrum expressed their condolences to the grieving family and pledged to take concrete steps to address the issue.
What trauma or traumatic thing has caused them to act out in a way where they would feel they need to be abusive or to hurt somebody else. And I think once you deal with those things, then you deal with the root problem, then you begin to provide the healing.
Nova Scotia's premier released a statement highlighting the urgency of the situation. We cannot ignore the fact that intimate partner violence is an epidemic in our province, he said. Too many lives have been lost, and we must act now to prevent further tragedies. The premier pledged increased funding for domestic violence shelters and support services, as well as the introduction of educational programs aimed at preventing abusive relationships. Local activists also played a significant role in raising awareness. Organizations such as the Transition Housing Association of Nova Scotia held public forums and workshops to educate the community about the dynamics of domestic violence. They provided resources for victims and their families, including crisis hotlines and safe shelters. One of the key recommendations from activists was the implementation of a domestic violence prevention program in schools. We need to start educating young people early, said a representative from a local nonprofit. By teaching them about healthy relationships and how to recognize the signs of abuse, we can break the cycle of violence before it starts. The tragic events of New Year's Eve in Halifax are a stark reminder of the devastating impact of intimate partner violence. While the loss of Coralee Smith and Bradford Downey cannot be undone, their story has sparked a renewed commitment to change within the community. Local leaders, activists, and law enforcement have united in their efforts to prevent future tragedies, recognizing that tackling intimate partner violence requires a multifaceted approach. Educational campaigns, legislative reforms, and increased support for victims are critical components of this effort. Many believe that true progress will only be achieved when society as a whole acknowledges the seriousness of the issue and works together to address it. This is not just a problem for victims and their families, it's a problem for all of us, said a local activist during a community forum. We need to stand together and say, enough is enough. As Nova Scotia continues to grapple with its high rates of intimate partner violence, the memory of Coralee and Bradford serves as a powerful reminder of the urgent need for action. Their lives were tragically cut short, but their story has inspired a movement dedicated to creating a safer future for everyone.